Romualdo and Benjamin, Two Little Trees. Author Lourdes Lopez Salazar. Once upon a time, in a place far from the city of Jalisco, Guadalajara, Mexico, there lived a man named Jacinto. He was a tall, thin man with large twirled mustaches, always with a kind and thoughtful look in his eyes. Jacinto was a hard-working man whose love for the countryside and trees was immense. For over 50 years, he had worked as a foreman on a large hacienda, a place full of nature and life. His bosses gave him the freedom to plant all kinds of plants, vibrant colored flowers, nopales, fruit trees of every variety, like apples, oranges, figs, and lemons, and even tall leafy trees that provided shade for those passing by. Despite being a humble man who never had the chance to attend school, Jacinto knew a great deal about country life, how to cultivate the land, care for plants, and understand the cycles of nature. His knowledge was so deep that many considered him a true sage of the countryside. Jacinto knew the techniques for planting and growing all kinds of trees perfectly. He always said that trees are life and very beneficial to humans as they provide the oxygen we need to live. Some give us delicious fruits to eat, while others have medicinal properties. They also offer shade on hot summer days when the sun is strong and provide firewood to keep us warm in winter. The last trees he planted before he had to leave were two small, identical twin trees. Every day, Jacinto came to water them with a long hose, tended the soil around them, and told them stories about other trees he had planted in his youth, which grew to become big, leafy, and beautiful. At over 80 years old, Jacinto felt happy working with nature, especially planting trees. Sometimes, Jacinto would sit on the ground with his guitar and sing to the trees, always giving them names after planting them. He named these two brothers Romualdo and Benjamin. One day, after several days without Jacinto coming to talk or water them, the two little trees looked at each other, desperate and sad, wondering, why hasn't Jacinto come to visit us, sing to us, or water us? As the days passed, the trees grew desperate with thirst, and one of them, Romualdo, who was very pessimistic, said to his brother, "How could Jacinto forget us? We'll surely die without him." But Benjamin, much more optimistic, replied, "I hope Jacinto is okay. I remember he didn't look well the last few days he visited us. Don't be like that, Romualdo. We're not going to die. Something good will come." No sooner had he said that than 3 wolves arrived and urinated on them. Seeing such disrespect, Romualdo shouted angrily, "No! Filthy wolves! What are you doing? How dare you?" But Benjamin, much calmer, responded serenely, "Calm down, brother. Remember, we need water, and this will help. Just hold your nose." Days kept passing, and Romualdo noticed his leaves turning brown and half dry, his trunk getting so thin that the wind almost bent him over. Romualdo began to cry, and once again started complaining. "I'm almost dead, brother. Look at my leaves. I can't hold them up anymore. They're falling one by one, dead on the ground. I'm going bald and ugly." But Benjamin just smiled and calmly replied, "Remember, we're entering autumn, and that's why the leaves turn brown and fall. Plus, at this time of year, we'll need less water because the sun isn't so strong. Have faith that everything will be okay. I'm thinking of the song Jacinto used to sing. Come on, cheer up, let's sing it." And with that invitation, Benjamin began to sing. "Let it rain, let it rain, let the water fall to nourish this land. Let the sun go down and the moon grow grand. Let it rain, and let all the plants bloom again." Come on, sing with me, Romualdo. But instead of singing, Romualdo, angry, said, "No, be quiet, I don't want to sing. Don't you see we're dying?" Benjamin, trying not to listen to his brother's constant complaints, sang all night and, exhausted, fell peacefully asleep. Unlike Romualdo, who covered his ears, thinking his brother was foolish and naive for believing singing would bring rain. The next morning, a coyote woke them up, scratching the ground and hurting Romualdo's roots with its long claws. Furious, Romualdo shouted, "Ouch! Listen, trim those claws. You've made me bleed, and it hurts. Don't you see how weak I am? Because we haven't had water in weeks? Get out of here, intruder!" Angry, the coyote growled, urinated on him, and walked away. Romualdo was so furious that he got sick with whitefly disease, and his leaves fell even faster because of his anger. When it started to get dark, a squirrel arrived and, settling on his trunk, began pecking at it. Romualdo, very angry, shooed it away rudely. When the squirrel got down from the tree, scared, it asked Benjamin for permission to build a small home, as it needed shelter until morning, when it would go look for food for its little ones. Some fruits, insects, corn, or bird eggs. Benjamin welcomed it and chatted pleasantly with it until they fell asleep. While Romualdo grumbled about the lack of water, the wolves, the coyote, the squirrel, and the whitefly disease attacking him, Benjamin looked at the bright blue sky with small white clouds forming shapes. When the sun set and the moon appeared, later the stars added a magical touch all around. Benjamin stayed hopeful, believing better times would come. At dawn, when the sky was still glowing with the aurora, a flock of birds arrived and perched on the branches of both trees. They sang with joy, brightening Benjamin's life, who welcomed them happily and joined them in singing Jacinto's song. Let it rain, let it rain, let the water fall to nourish this land. Let the sun go down and the moon grow grand. Let it rain, and let all the plants bloom again. Romualdo, angrier than ever, just shouted, "Quiet, you noisy birds! Get out of here! It's not going to rain, Benjamin! Don't you see there are no clouds? It's not the rainy season! We're dying! No! Sing somewhere else!" More days passed without rain, but they didn't die either. One morning, Benjamin woke up and saw Romualdo bent over, almost touching the ground, and asked, "What are you doing down there, Romualdo?" Romualdo replied, "Don't you see? I'm getting ready to die." Benjamin laughed and said, "Come on, brother, cheer up. Something good will come." Then, loud thunder rumbled, strong winds brought dark, water-heavy clouds, and rain began to fall from the sky. Big drops of rain came down, and Benjamin, overjoyed, starts singing and dancing again. Romualdo looks at his brother and shouts, "Tell me the truth, brother. Am I dreaming, or am I already dead and in heaven?" Benjamin, smiling, replied, "Come on, stand up, you tree of little faith. You're not dead, but if you stay there, you'll die, drowned. Ha ha." The rain lasted several days, and both trees quenched their thirst. They grew stronger and full of life again, ready to face winter and welcome spring. By then, the brothers looked sturdier. When summer arrived, they could draw water from deep in the earth and never suffered from thirst again. When Romualdo recovered from his illness, he realized that being so angry and negative wasn't healthy and felt ashamed of his attitude. He saw Benjamin so healthy, robust, and full of joy, always surrounded by friends like the little birds, coyotes, wolves, squirrels, and wildflowers. Then he felt embarrassed for being so pessimistic, a mediocre tree that didn't want to help anyone. That day, he decided to learn from his brother Benjamin that you must always fight until your last breath before giving up and be generous with everyone. After many years, the two little trees became lush, beautiful trees, but Benjamin was the tallest and leafiest. People passing by came to enjoy his shade and oxygen. Some even hugged him, feeling the life and energy he radiated, while others took pictures. Children ran around him, filled with joy, songs, and laughter. Little birds nested in his branches. Romualdo, though he changed his attitude, still had to work on his character, especially practicing patience with other beings that are part of our surroundings.